Well, by complete contrast, we had a very early start today. I was up at 3:30 and we've taken a flight to Cairo. It was a little delayed and what have you. And the aim of today is to see these things. So this is one of the pyramids. Well, the biggest pyramid, Khufu, is originally 149.9 meters high, and that represents 149.9 million kilometers to the sun. That's how the figures tally up. Altogether, 2,300,000 stones used in the construction of this massive pyramid. It took 25 years to construct, and these are constructed in limestone, and the angle is 52 degrees. The enormity of the stone blocks become apparent the closer we get. Each of these blocks was cut from a site 45 kilometers away on the eastern side of the Nile. And over the 25-year construction, there was only a 3-month window to get the stones across on cedarwood boats across the Nile when it was in flood. There's obviously a tourist trap here. You can have a ride with a horse and carriage or indeed a camel to get around the pyramids. Needless to say, pyramids have 4 sides. This is the north side, and the pyramids in their day had a plaster facing and were painted in gold and silver to reflect the sun. Of course, we're looking at a structure which is now 4,500 years old. They were originally built around 2,500 BC. So this one is Khafre. It was the son of Khufu, which was the main pyramid we first saw. And also on Khafre, the building blocks, the size of the limestone stones appears considerably smaller than the Khufu pyramid. This one stands at 136 meters high. In the heart of the pyramid lies the burial chamber, and it is possible to access that through the entranceway, which several are going through, but despite the high price that we paid for our tour today, entrance to the pyramids is not included. That's extra, our guide said as soon as we arrived. However, unlike the Valley of the Kings which we visited, the passageways down to the tombs are all plain. Really, it's just an access channel in, which was constructed all those years ago for the tomb. But standing at the base, looking up on that angle of construction, the enormity of the task in hauling these stones up for the construction lies before you. Well, the pyramids are built on a promontory on solid bedrock above the current city of Cairo. And that godforsaken place is there in the smog in the distance. I moved across now to a higher viewpoint, and the perspective changes the pyramids considerably. The one in the far distance to the north was the tallest, as I mentioned earlier, 149.9 meters. It now stands at 136 meters. The second pyramid is just 3 meters different to that, although from here it looks by far the biggest. And the third one on the right was built for the grandson, hence it being the smallest. We were offered the opportunity to do a camel train ride, which would have taken an hour in this heat, so we politely declined. And hidden neatly on the other side of the pyramids is another world famous feature, the Sphinx. And on our walk in, there's plenty of other tombs, but these would have been the supervisors of the workers, who would be located closer to the king. Well, you're going to get my voice with a background of a lot of very foreign accents. But here we are at the world's largest statue created from a single piece of stone known as the Sphinx. It was designed by the same guys who did the pyramids all those years ago. The head, the statue, was destroyed by in the era, well, just before Napoleon Bonaparte. He came along to rescue it, but the nose had been shot off, and the beard is in a museum in London. And then we were brought through to our lunch venue for today, through the artificial Sphinx, and a bit of music to greet us on arrival. And then lunch slowly emerged in front of us with a mixture of chicken and meat kebab, and all sorts of little goodies around the table. There's baba ganoush, there's falafels, there's rice, there's heaven knows what. We're just tucking in and enjoying it. And those chicken and beef koftas that we had were all cooked here just outside on this huge great barbecue. Alright, the chef's here now, turning them over for the next lot. And after lunch we continued on one of the main roads, and we're going through to the Cairo Museum at some point. We're now on a 7-lane section of road around or into the city, and the buildings on the side, if you notice, have just been half removed in order to accommodate the wider road. Alright, so after that lunch and then fairly chaotic journey through the streets of Cairo, we come through to the main Cairo Museum for this afternoon. Inside, this is the cedarwood coffin of a priest from Luxor, and inscribed on effectively the top all the good he did throughout his priesthood, right from when he was born. So it was an inscription that was made all of his life. And this sarcophagus represents a dwarf. I'm stood now by a red granite sarcophagus, unfinished, and are contemplating in ancient towns times how a cut like this was achieved, because it would appear to have had a circular action. When you look down at the joint here, it's going in and then angled up to the top. This chest piece sized figurine is an image of the builder of the Great Pyramids that we saw this morning. It's a tiny figure made of ivory. This is the statue of King Khafre, whose Great Pyramid we saw first thing this morning. From the front, you don't see the falcon, Horus, holding his head high and preventing it from falling. The statue is the grandson, the statue of I've got my own commentary in the background now. Thank you. And this is a statue of Queen Hatshepsut, who reigned the only queen really to reign over Egypt from the age of 25 for 22 years. And at the age of 47 she disappeared. And this is the Sphinx for Queen Hatshepsut in red granite. Now up in Tutankhamun's tomb, airing all the treasures from there. And this is a jackal who was the guardian of the tomb entrance in the Valley of the Kings episode. And this is King Tut's throne with an elaborate footrest. The Queen's on there as well.
The
Lapis lazuli makes up the two wings.
Right? The sun disk. The Lord of the images of the sun disk in the name meaning. The right name.
And on the rear of the seat,
and
four serpents here protecting the king from attack from behind. And in here is a 3,400-year-old mummy, preserved forever. And another one adjacent. Might be a pity about the glass reflection. The intricate detail on the interior of the coffins is something to behold as well. Well, we're coming to what could only be described as the macabre animal mummy room, and all of the animals in here have been, well, mummified. Here, a sacred fish. All the coffins we find are richly gilded with ornate inscriptions on them also. Also here an ancient chariot with a bamboo shaft. This is the head of the god Anubis. It's like a mask worn by the priests. And that god was considered head of the cemetery. And the tools here were used in the mummification process to remove the organs, except for the heart, from the animals, and for the organs to then be stored in these casks. So after we left the museum, we've now got a ride in our minibus for the day through the streets of Cairo. City it is. Left there, we just passed a metro station. Well, we're not on that, we're probably a bit hot. Oh, just missed them. $1,500 mosques in Cairo altogether, we were told earlier. The road out to the airport is 6 lanes wide. No real lane discipline, and it's all generally a bit of a free-for-all. But we haven't seen any touches yet. In front's texting on her phone as we're driving along, you can see it clearly. Yeah. As we get closer to the airport, we're passing many of the embassies and also military academies and also the President's Palace. So this section is nicely presented, clear of litter and kept green and very neat and tidy.